Can calisthenics really build muscle, or is it just an overhyped idea that falls drastically short of the results you can expect from weight training? This is the topic of today's video, weight training versus calisthenics. Not my opinion, but what do the studies have to say? Which one's best for building muscle and achieving that lean, aesthetic body? First, let's start with the fact that there's proof that both of these approaches can produce some pretty amazing results. With bodyweight training, we got people like Frank Medrano, Chris Heria, and Hannibal for King, and all of them developed really great physiques with an emphasis on bodyweight training. Gymnasts, especially those that use the rings, are another great example of how bodyweight training can build a very nice physique. With weight training, you have a lot of different styles that produce different kinds of results. You have natural bodybuilding and physique competitors. They use weight training to produce really aesthetic results with a primary focus on the way that the muscle looks rather than its functionality. And you also have high-intensity interval resistance training, or HIIT, in programs like CrossFit that also produce great physiques. Even if you hate CrossFit, you can't deny that it produces some pretty shredded athletes. So we know that it's possible to build a great body with or without weights, but which way is best and which way gets us to build muscle the fastest? Well, to answer this question, we have to take a look at what makes a natural lifter's muscles continuously grow. And the answer to this is a little something known as progressive overload, which is essentially incrementally increasing the difficulty of your workouts for your body to adapt with improved strength and muscle gains. There are 4 factors that we can manipulate to achieve progressive overload: frequency, intensity, volume, and time. Frequency is the number of days that you would work out, and time is the amount of time spent during that one workout. So these 2 factors we're going to kind of ignore because we're going to pretend that we want to spend the same amount of time on both body weight training and weight training. Volume is the total amount of work that you're doing based on the reps and the sets, and intensity is usually measured by the weight load, or the amount of force that's put on your muscles. With weight training, it's very easy to increase intensity, and it's also very easy to track your increases in intensity. This is simply done by adding more weight to the exercise performed. With calisthenics, you can increase intensity as well, but it's not quite as simple. For example, you could start with a push-up on your knees, eventually progress to a regular bodyweight push-up, and then get to an incline push-up, which will transfer more weight to your upper body, and then finally you can move to a handstand push-up, which is going to put more of the pressure on your shoulders rather than your chest. After the handstand push-up, it's going to be pretty hard for you to find ways to increase intensity. Volume, on the other hand, can very easily be increased in a calisthenic program to progressively overload your muscles. So you can add more sets or reps of push-ups, but there is a limit to how much body weight you can add to this movement. So with weight training, we have the advantage of being able to manipulate intensity infinitely. In a study published in 2015, they compared the effects of high volume resistance training versus high intensity resistance training, and they found that the higher intensity group stimulated significantly greater strength gains for a 1 rep max bench press, and their lean arm mass gains were also greater when compared to the moderate intensity high volume group. Even though this study isn't comparing calisthenics to weight training directly, we can say that a higher intensity or a heavier load stimulates more muscle mass than a moderate load. And again, in terms of manipulating intensity, the advantage goes to weight training. This study pretty much throws away the argument that you could achieve just as much muscle gains with lighter weight, more reps and sets within the same amount of time as you could with heavier weight, at least for the upper body, when we talk about the upper body, because that's what the study dealt with. So increasing your total reps for push-ups may not be as effectively as progressing using a heavier weight load with an exercise like bench press. The study, however, does mention that for the lower body, both groups showed similar gains. They mentioned that more studies are needed and that a longer period could reveal differences in the lower body muscular gains. There are also 2 other studies, one in 2002 and another in 2014, that concluded that high intensity and high volume groups achieved the same muscular adaptations. So the studies disagree with each other and kind of support both sides. Unfortunately, the one study that I was able to find that compared calisthenics to weight training involved a comparison of calisthenics to light weight training for the lower body. Both the weight training group and the calisthenic group got the same results. However, I would love to see a study where they compared the calisthenic group to a high intensity weight training group. Until then, results are mixed on this topic, so here's my 2 cents based on my own experience. Calisthenics and weight training deliver two completely different things, and each has its advantages. With calisthenics, you're going to increase your balance, coordination, flexibility, functional strength, isometric strength, and core strength in a way that will beat most weight training programs. Calisthenics is an excellent choice for those that are more so interested in their athletic performance and functionality rather than just aesthetics. That's not to say you can't have a great body with calisthenics, because you obviously can. However, if your goal is to strictly aim for that aesthetic, muscular look and you don't really care about functionality or athleticism at all, then weight training will probably serve you better. With weights, you have the ability to increase intensity and isolate your muscle fibers in a way that would be impossible with calisthenics. And a bodybuilding competition is where people are evaluated strictly based on their physiques and their muscular symmetry. And most bodybuilding competitors to this day primarily use weight training over calisthenics. So if you want a bodybuilder type of body, go for the weight training approach. If you want a lean, functional, and athletic body that isn't all for show, go for calisthenics. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You don't have to choose. Guys, I do both weight training and calisthenics. Since there are such great benefits from both, why not incorporate both? People get into this argument over which one's best and they try to take a side. I think it's a much better idea to use both to maximize your results. A calisthenic exercise like pull-ups, dips, or push-ups can be made so much better by adding a weight. And even though barbell squats are great, you won't get the same benefits from weighted squats that you can get from a calisthenic exercise like a box jump or a plyometric lunge. They each have their benefits. The main benefit that I would attribute to weight training, especially heavy weight training, is that it's the best way to strengthen your muscles quickly, which theoretically should help increase progressive overload and increase protein synthesis and pack on muscle mass faster. With calisthenics, you're going to build true, functional, applicable strength that will carry over to real life a lot better than your traditional weight training program. Also with calisthenics, you could do it anywhere, which is really awesome. That's it, guys. I really hope this video has helped you out. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to this channel and visit my website, gravitytransformation.com, where you can get done-for-you programs that are proven to work. See you guys soon.
Pump it.